Hello everyone, welcome back to the Kirklees Guitar School Podcast. I'm joined with my co-host, Mr. George Loveridge. How are you, George?
Better than you by the sounds of it, if I'm going to be honest.
I've done a lot of teaching over the past week or so. We've got a lot of people on holiday, and this is not illness, this is...
Just lost your voice.
This is addressing many and many a class. So I've really put the hours in this week. So has this week been a rock or a roll?
It's an absolute rock, I would say. Right. It's a rock, so there's a lot on the crib sheet this week. I say rock, I think it's just because it's been so busy. It's just good to keep going. So I went to see a band called The Feeling in Sheffield at the weekend.
Was that this week? Right.
Yeah, so The Feeling, they're celebrating 20 years since their first album. So they just played their first album, the most popular one, back-to-back live, and then came on and did a couple of extras.
What was their hit?
Love It When You Call is a big one. It sounds really weird when you're trying to explain kind of a band that they had a number one hit in 2006. That was fine. Love The Feeling.
There's another band called The Fray that I sort of get the two mixed up.
But their support act was this lady called Sandy Tom, who I'd never heard of.
I've heard of her, yeah.
Yeah, she had that hit, I Want to Be a Punk Rocker.
With flowers in my hair.
But she came on her own, just on her own, onto the stage. She said, "Good evening, everyone." Everyone, "Oh, okay." And she started singing a cappella with a harmonica. And being in Sheffield, from the back of the room, you heard, "What is this?" And it was this really awkward... But eventually she got everyone on side. She started playing a 12-string guitar. Problem is, she got to her biggest hit after 45 minutes. Someone fainted in the crowd. So she was singing. All of a sudden, people were flashing phones and screaming. House lights went on.
Yeah.
If you ever turn the lights on in the middle of the night, it's like it's overstimulating. Mm-hmm. So that was really embarrassing for her because she just kind of left. And she didn't come back.
Yeah,
really weird.
When you're stood on stage and emergencies like that happen, obviously the person that's having the emergency needs help immediately. And you see clips online now.
She did call for the medics, in fairness, yeah.
But you're in a really precarious position because it's kind of like, do we all just look at what's happening down there on the stage floor, or do I carry on so that they all watch me? Yeah. It's a really interesting conversation among performers, but obviously we want people to come to our gigs.
They were okay, I think. It was just a little bit warm, and maybe they had a few too many. But
what was the venue?
It was Foundry in Sheffield, so the Students' Union.
Oh, right.
Really good. I've been there twice now. What else has been going on? Fender lawsuit. Have you seen anything about this?
do I need to...
Someone at Fender's woken up and going, bloody hell, someone's nicked all our guitars.
70 years ago.
Yeah. So back in 1954, Leo went, I make this very nice. And then everyone else went, oh, I'll have a go. Everyone learned on a knockoff Fender copy. Morally, it's so bizarre that Fender have woken up and gone, hang on. Everyone's nicked. So I work for Gear News, who promote Toman stuff, who promote Harley Benton stuff. Harley Benton are feeling a bit hot under my collar at the minute.
But it's just so bizarre. It's kind of like, why now? Now, you could understand, like, Gibson went after all the Japanese brands in the 70s, didn't they?
Yeah.
So why didn't Fender do it at the same time?
Well, what's interesting is some other company have woken up as well and said, we developed the G-Bender. That's ours. So they're going after Fender now. Yeah. So I think it's all going to be a sort of a smouldering mess.
Is it one of those like fees? The Spider-Man meme where there's like four of them and they're all
doing that? Like, yeah. Other than that, so yeah, it definitely is a rock. I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with this guitar, but we'll come to that, so stick around. Has it been a rock or a roll for you this week?
Yeah, it's been a great week this week. So it was my birthday last week, so I treated myself to some high-stick.
There you go.
Some high-stick amp straps. So I got one for the Jaguar and one for my Black Les Paul, all with sort of matching leather to go with the fretboards, and then insides to sort of either the binding or the finish on the guitar to match with it. The one that I've got for my Jaguar...
Is it a bit garish?
No. So I've gone for dark brown.
Right.
My Jaguar's the...
Oh, the blue one, sorry. Yeah.
So the one for the Jazzmaster is a bit garish. Okay. But the one for the Jaguar, I've gone for dark brown on the outside to match the rosewood fretboard. Nice. But then I've done like a teal insert on the back to go with the late plastic blue. And do you know what? It's lovely. Because I wasn't sure whether to go black on the top. But I'm really glad that I went for dark brown. The Academy members have just got access to the start of the fingerpicking course. They voted what course they wanted to make next. And I made the fingerpicking course, and I'm sort of drip feeding that along with a challenge which is exclusive to Academy members.
Oh, that's
similar to like Riffmas, but all within the Academy. So if you want to get some fingerpicking on, you can head to the second link in the description, and you can get access to all that with a 14-day free trial. it's some of the best online teaching I've ever done. Like play along examples, backing tracks. I'm like out of everything I've done so far online, I'm really excited for what everyone's going to get.
Definitely worth being a member then.
So, back on task.
Yes.
What's going on with these then?
So, welcome back to our cheap guitar challenge. This is part 2. We had part 1 a few weeks ago. We're asking today, should you modify your guitar? It's a big question. It's asked a lot. We've done it, so you don't have to. Or should you? We've gone away and done a bit of work on these, haven't we? So the idea was, if you weren't here for the first episode, go and check that out if you haven't done so already. We had £100 to spend. James went and bought a new guitar. I went and bought a used guitar. Now, I must admit, I bent the rules a little bit. This guitar is still effectively brand new. It was a rejected Christmas present that someone was selling for nearly half price.
But it was on the used market.
It was on the used market, and I did pay the price for that a little bit. In terms of the condition of the guitar, you went brand spanking new, and it was kind of the idea, should you buy new or used? If you've got 100 quid for your guitar and 100 quid for lessons, 100 quid gets you a term of lessons here at Kirklees. Well, you got change from that, actually.
Yeah, you have.
That's kind of what we're going for.
But, so just remind me, what did you end up giving for that?
So this was, I think, £85 plus £5 plus. So I'm 90 quid deep in this.
Right, and I'm 85 in this. So then with the surplus, we decided to... What upgrades can we put on the guitar? But then we figured out that in today's money,
you can't.
15 quid's not a lot of money anymore, is it?
You were kind enough to give us both £20.
Hypothetically, you got a guitar for Christmas. You got £100 for your guitar.
And
for
your
Christmas,
auntie gave you some money.
And then your birthday came round and Grandma gave you to slip you 20 quid when nobody were looking. So what else could you do? So there's also a really big announcement to go with this.
Yes, so these look pretty swanky right now.
I'm really pleased with how this one's turned out.
These look really nice. If you think they look nice as well, why don't you win it? Yeah, you can win these. So we're going live. We're going live again. We've got another live podcast coming Saturday, the 6th of June, 2026, at the Pie Hall again. For those of you that came last time, it was a pretty good night, actually.
It was really good.
We say we're gonna make it better. We are. We know how we can make it better. But your ticket gets you a ticket to win one of these guitars.
So we're good. There'll be two. We'll be giving both guitars away to anybody that participates who comes to watch us and the live show. And it's just going to be drawn at random at the end of our Q&A section in the second set. 2 of you lucky punters are going to win
one of these guitars.
One of these guitars. Now, just a little bit more on the live show before we get into this. What's the plan? What are we talking about?
Who doesn't love a Decade Discovery episode? Everyone loves Decade Discovery. So we're going to film 1985 to 1989. So we're splitting the 80s in half.
There's so much we just can't do it all.
We're going to have one 80s Discovery in here as normal for all you guys to watch. And then we're going to have a live Decade Discovery as well, the back end of the 80s.
And we've taken the feedback from what you guys said who attended the first live podcast. Much more playing, much more interactive, kind of the live studio audience vibe. So we're going to do our second part of the 80s Decade Discovery in the first set. And then we are going to we're going to do some Q&A off the floor and give these 2 guitars away.
But we're not filming the Q&A, so if you want to come and ask some questions, come along. That's going to be your only chance. It's not going to be televised.
Questions that come, throw stuff at us.
There's no PG certificate on that, so go for it.
But the last one that we did was really successful. It was really good to see some of the members of the community, and I'd really like to see some more. So tickets are very strictly limited. I think it's 60 tickets available.
Yeah, it's a great venue, but it's small. But it'd be great to fill it. It'd be really good to see you again.
First link in the description. When those tickets, we've got certain fire regs we need to adhere to that venue. When the tickets are gone, the tickets are gone. And I look forward to doing another great live show with you, George.
Yeah, me too. So 6th of June, that's when we're going to do it.
Excellent. Right then, so I'll start first.
Yeah, yours looks considerably different to when I last saw it. It did blow me away a little bit when I walked in the room. So what's gone on there?
Right, so budget guitars have to fit a certain price point, and there's continually, whether it's this guitar or others of a similar price point, probably all made in the same factory or within the same region in China, to be honest, all kind of get let down by certain cheap components, but they have to draw the line somewhere. So this guitar, out of the box, I was really impressed with it, actually.
Yeah, it did all right.
My first starter Strat was very similar to this one. Again, a Strat copy, and it was twice as much money, and it was half the guitar.
I think that's the thing nowadays. We are seeing more budget guitars, but it's easier to get stung now. Yeah. Back when you and I were learning when we were kids, you pay 80 quid for a guitar, you're going to get 80 quid worth of guitar. But nowadays, you pay 80 quid for a guitar, I'd say you get nearly £200 worth of guitar.
My main bugbear of the guitar was the tuners weren't stable at all. It came set up with 9-gauge D'Addario strings, and I could tell it was a diamond in the rough. It just needed polishing. The fretboard was criminally dry. As well. So I oiled the fretboard. I put a fresh set. I stayed with 9-gauge strings.
Okay.
With a view of somebody winning this guitar, I think it'd be preferable. And do you know what? I didn't want to mess with it because it's set up. Anderton's QC these guitars, quality control these guitars before they go out. And whoever set this guitar up did a really good job of it.
That's good to know.
I haven't had to touch anything on the setup of this guitar. I did change the tuners. And I just got some eBay specials. I'll talk costs in a minute. Who doesn't love a tortoise scratch plate? I just thought, you know what? What's really different? And I was kind of going for the Jeff Beck kind of
Yeah,
vibe.
I do like the mint, the seafoam green.
Something a little bit different and quite immediately obvious that I was going to change was the pick guard, so I changed that. What else I changed? I shielded the cavities of the guitar.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. Now, whoever wins this guitar, as you'll see in the clip, which we're going to run in a second, don't look too closely. But
don't take it apart.
what I was finding was I was playing the guitar with my phone in my pocket, and I was getting interference off the back of the pickups. So for the sake of £4 on eBay, I just got a sheet of copper and shielded it all. This scratch plate, I've had to really test the physics of where these screws go. I haven't got the drill out again because somebody's going to win it. If this was my guitar, I would have drilled some new ones. Extra holes. Whoever wins this guitar, all the original parts will come with the guitar as well. And then finally, you can hear this rattling about.
I can.
Right, I put some strap locks on the guitar.
Did you?
So
it doesn't look like it to me.
Yeah, Charlotte strap locks.
Oh, right, I couldn't see the other end. I thought you completely pulled them off.
So all my guitars that I do gigs with, I have Charlotte strap locks on. Now, Charlotte strap locks are about £50 a go. I found some ones on eBay that weren't much more conveniently priced. So let's talk costs then. What have I spent on this guitar? Now, all in all, these upgrades to this guitar, I did it within an hour.
That's all right.
And I feel like I've got twice the guitar as a result of it. Now, I didn't factor in the cost of strings because I had some in a drawer that I wasn't using.
Fair enough.
And I didn't factor in the cost of the lemon oil because I had that on the shelf as well. Now, anybody who comes to the school who studies with me will know there's some of that in a drawer, and if your fretboard's looking a little bit dry on the spot, I will kind of go, come here, let me.
You use less than a mil of.
I've had one tub, and it lasted me like 5 years.
I've got the same pot of lemon oil that I bought when Dawson shut down.
Really?
Context, that's 2019.
Yeah.
And I've got 8 guitars, and I restring them all at least once a year.
Yeah.
There you go.
So my strap locks, that's telling me they're delivered. It's not telling me how much they were. So my strap locks were $2.99. My shielding, my copper shielding was $4.99. The tuners, I pushed the boat out. These were $14.97. If I'm going to spend money anywhere, that was the main problem with the guitar. And I'm really pleased that I did. They feel so much better and they're so much more stable. In the jam before, we were really kicking the crap out of these, weren't they?
Yeah, it looks after you.
In tune. Yeah. And then the scratch plate finally, which was $13.95. So I've sort of stuck very loosely to, and they're all free postage, and I'm pretty sure that keeps me under the £120 total budget. But I'm sure you'll agree, money well spent.
Yeah, it looks all right. Can I see more of what you did to that guitar then?
Yeah. Right then, so this is Tuesday the 17th of March, so we're filming the podcast in a couple of days. So you all know what I started with. I started with this East Coast Strat copy. Now, my initial kind of thoughts of this, great guitar for the money. What can I do, what's left within my budget, to kind of just make it that little bit more stable? So I've been on eBay and I've got some bits. Let me show you what we're up against. Now, what I thought would be pretty cool, I bought a tortoise guard for it, which we're gonna put on today. What else have we got? The tuners for this guitar are not very good, and that's a kind of given with any budget guitars, that they're not very. I'll just get that camera on so that you can see. Tuners are not. What's the right way to put it? It's kind of where a lot of guitar companies cheap out. So I've got some new tuners on eBay. They were the most expensive thing that I bought, but they're still not a set of Grovers that are £40 or £50. Strap locks,
got some strap locks, can't do without. It's one thing that I do to any of my sort of premium guitars, and I managed to find some Charlotte style strap locks that were just under budget. And then finally, this guitar is very noisy. So I've got this sheet of, I think it's copper, and I'm going to shield the cavity of the guitar. And hopefully if you've got your phone in your pocket and you're playing it, you don't get any interference. Alongside that, this rosewood fretboard, although it looks really nice, it's very dry. And I've got some D'Addario strings that I'm going to pop on it. So let's start. Let's get this going. So I'm going to start by pulling the strings off the guitar. You'll have to forgive me. There's stuff everywhere here today, but let's get on with it. So let's get these strings off this guitar. So I think actually starting with this, I'm going to take the tuners off this guitar. Fingers crossed. I'm just hoping that they fit, but I'll report back. Right, so that's the tuners on, and I think it's just a sort of public service announcement, and I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but when you're changing anything like this, and you're using parts of questionable quality from overseas, don't tighten everything up so tight that you either break something or that you actually shear it off. You don't need to get your torque wrench out. Just nip it up just enough so there's not much play in it. I'm not going to comment on it too much until the strings are on it, but this feels like a really suitable, a really kind of good upgrade. These tuners feel, they've just got a little bit more, they've got a little bit of something about them. They feel a lot more solid. So, I need to get my big screwdriver and we'll get these strap buttons put on. Right then, this neck is drier than a insert inappropriate analogy. So I've got some lemon oil here that I'm going to put on the fretboard. Now, it's not actually made of lemons, but this is D'Addario's flavour. Now, rosewood fretboards do, and what's meant to emulate rosewood does get very dry. Now, what I'm going to do, because this guitar is of questionable quality, I'm going to put plenty on and I'm going to just let it soak in. And then I'm going to do it one more time once the strings are in. So can you see how I've just dotted a bit on? I've got a microfiber cloth. And I'm just going to rub it in just to make sure that the moisture gets everywhere. I could do with a little bit more up here. And then I'm just going to rub that in and let it soak. Let it soak in. And can you see how instantly it's gone darker? Now, because this fretboard's very dry, you will find, and if your guitar's the same, you'll find it'll lighten up again. So hence why I'm going to oil it twice. I always prefer to oil these with the strings off the guitar, because it'll prolong life for your strings. So, next job, scratch plate. But first, I need to set the scratch plate off, and let's get this shielding in. Right, scratch plate's nearly on. I've just got to it's just not quite sitting well, and I just need to figure out why, because it should do. I measured it, but as is often the case, these things are kind of, sometimes you've got to push and pull it, so let me see what I can do. Right, I'm back. So I managed to get it on. Now, what I'm going to do, it's a very tight fit. You'll probably come to realise what we're going to do in the actual podcast with these guitars, but because of that I'm hesitant to get my drill out. So I've just kind of made it fit, and it's passable. It's okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to oil the fretboard, and then I'm going to get some strings on it, and we'll see if it's been a success. So time will tell, but I've just held the fretboard again, and I've just put some D'Addario 9s on this. It seems to be tuning so much better. Like I said, it feels like there's actually something happening in there now. Doesn't feel flimsy or cheap. And just oiling that fretboard, it feels so much nicer to play. So, assuming there's no more, I'm going to plug this in and just make sure everything's as it should be. And assuming it is, back to the podcast.
So how did you get on with yours? What's going on with yours?
As I said earlier, I've had a love-hate relationship with this thing. As I said from day dot, this thing was pretty disgusting. On the surface, it looked good. On camera, it was just full of oily, smudgy marks and dust, and it just didn't feel nice. So I gave this a bloody good clean, like a really good clean, just with some Dunlop body spray, sorry. And I'm sure you'll agree, it looks the part now. It looks really, really good. It looks
brand new.
Well, it's because it kind of was, but I think as it was a rejected Christmas present, and it was probably hung up on the wall at Gear for Music in York for a while, it just needed a little bit of love. Now, these do retail at £150, 154 to be exact. So I did have a better starting point, arguably. So let's quickly go through bits then. Fresh set of strings. Instead of sticking with the 10s from factory, the D'Addario, I've gone for Ernie Ball 10s instead, because I just don't feel like... I feel like Ernie Balls give me that spank that I need from a Super Strat, the response that I wanted. What else have I done? I've adjusted the truss rod, believe it or not, because it had just started to raise a little bit, so I brought that back down. Now plays a lot better than it did before. Something I've never had to do on a guitar before. I did look at upgrading the nut, but they're a bit cheap, and this nut, I don't know if you can see, is really quite deep in the neck, and I didn't want to mess around with that or mess with the action. I actually took a blade and sort of filed down the bottom 3 strings. That was because they were just, these new strings just didn't slot into the nut. So I've done that. I've given everything just a good spanner check, really. So yeah, should we just, instead of me talking about it, should we actually watch me doing the work? Hello everyone. So you join me at home here with the G4M Clear Blue Skies, however many other letters and numbers go with it. So I've been playing this for a couple of weeks now. I used it to teach with a few weeks ago, and honestly it doesn't need much other than what I would refer to as a good spanner check. So all of the tuners are a little bit loose and a little bit soft, if you like, so they need adjusting. It obviously needs a fresh set of strings and a setup. The intonation needs changing. Annoyingly, this volume pot is looser than a loose thing. Turns out I own 11 Allen keys, and they're all too big to adjust this pot, so hopefully I'll be able to adjust that volume pot in the near future, but I don't know if you can hear it's not optimum. The body needs a good clean. Thank you for all your suggestions as to what to do to modify it. I could have relicked it. I would have got my heat gun out and a scraper. I relicked my telly over there before, but what I'm actually going to do, I've already practiced with 2 of them. Going to get some masking tape. I'm going to add some fret inlay markers. I'm going to add them all along the top edge. What have I got here to do this? Well, I've got some Dunlop guitar cleaner with a microfiber cloth. Got some fresh strings. I'm actually going to put some Ernie Balls on this. It comes with D'Addarios from factory, but I think for a Super Strat they're just too thick. They don't have the response that I want from this kind of guitar, so hence why I'm going for Ernie Ball 10 gauge strings. Got some lemon oil, running out of that, ought to get some more of that. Some lemon oil. So yeah, I'll take you through various bits. It's not going to be too boring, so stick with me and we'll see what we get up to. Right, what I'm going to do first before I do anything else is make sure the intonation's spot on. So I'm going to make sure that my low E string is spot on in tune. Now you don't just want to do this with a mobile app, you want a direct tuner. And then what I'm going to do is put my first finger, or any finger, on the 12th fret and pick that string. Now if the note is flat, I need to adjust the saddles the note is flat, i.e. it goes down in pitch when I hit that 12th fret. The saddle needs to go forwards this way, or if it's sharp it needs to go backwards towards the right of the screen. So if I hit the E again, that is a little bit flat, so I just need to bring, with a Phillips screwdriver, which will keep in my gig bag, this saddle forwards a little bit by loosening this off. So the string will change pitch a little bit, tune it up again. There we go. Now I've gone too far. So bring it back down a little bit. There we go. Try the 12 again. There we go, spot on. So I'm going to repeat the process for all 6 strings now. Okay, so now that I've done the intonation, can you see that all of the saddles are at different points? Now, okay, it doesn't look as pretty as it did from the factory where they're all in a straight line, but now they're all at different levels. I know that the strings are intonated the whole way across the fretboard, therefore the guitar will be in tune at any given note across the fretboard, which is great. Okay, the next step is the actual spanner check, well, screwdriver check. So everything, as I said, is a little bit loose. So the first thing I'm going to do is just tighten up these strap hooks. That didn't take much. There we go, that's much better. So with this being a used guitar, it's spent a lot of time in transit and everything just rattles loose. And even though it's fairly new, I would say that these might not have been that tight from factory. Now this one, I haven't actually screwed it on straight. There's a little, like a gasket on there, a bit of a rubber grommet, to make sure that the metal doesn't sit against the nice Blue Skies paintwork. So I'll just tighten that down. Now hopefully, even though I don't have any strap locks for this, hopefully my strap won't fly off. What else is that? I can't tighten up. This I've tightened up earlier because it was really annoying me. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to tighten these tuners up. As I say, they're a little bit loose. So what I mean by that, when you turn it, you may need to turn it 3 times and it doesn't adjust the string very much. So what I'm just going to do is just knit these up a little bit. Now that will adjust the string, so I need 3 hands for this almost. Just hold the tuner in place and make sure these are nice and tight. You don't want them too tight, but these were they were almost finger tight. I want to be able to put some effort into tuning this thing up. There we go. Should make these, because these tuners look alright. I did look up getting some upgraded tuners, but for the budget I had left to play with, they'd have been worse than these. But these are feeling much better already, which is fantastic. I can then look at getting the strings off and giving it a good clean. So this is a first for me. I'm just pulling the old strings out the back of the guitar, and you notice there's something missing here. The old strings have pulled out all these little stoppers, I suppose. There is a technical term for them, I can't remember it. Stoppers out, so now I'm going to have to thread these all the way back down the strings. This is just going very wrong so far. This should have been a simple string change. Another thing I've noticed, one of the nuts on the tuning pegs is very loose, so I'm going to tighten that up as well, and that should again make these tuners feel a little bit better than they already do. Okay then, so for my next trick, there's probably better ways to be doing this. Please let me know in the comments. I've got these inlay stickers. I'm having to put them this high up because the only inlays were on the 12th fret and they were this high. These have sat over the other ones. So I've masked this off. Looks like the fretboard scalloped actually from this angle. And I'm just going to place these one by one, sort of as close to the middle as I can. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to help, at least when I'm playing it, to see what fret I'm on, because it can be a bit misleading, weirdly, on this maple board. But yeah, hopefully that makes a big difference. I've also just cleaned up the headstock, which looks lovely. Nice mirror finish in that. I'm going to put some graphite in the nut as well, but more on that when we come to put the strings on. Okay, next problem. These are slightly too thin to go back in here. They're going to rattle themselves loose. These two are nice and tight. So what I'm going to do is just going to wrap a little bit of masking tape around these to slide them in a bit better. I'm not going to use glue. But yeah, that's annoying. I know the string would hold it in place, but I don't want these falling out. So I'm just going to wrap a little bit of masking tape around these, and then hopefully that will go. But that is far too loose. I'm not happy with how loose that is. That'll just come out the minute I lift the guitar. So I'll just get a bit of tape on these to secure them in. Okay, here comes the bit I've been waiting for now. I've got those inlays on. Just going to lather that in the Dunlop body formula. Grab a clean microfiber. Now I've already wiped most of the dust off this thing. I'm just going to buff this in and then buff it again once I've finished. This guitar has been dying for this since I got it. And oh no, you got it on the pickups. It's fine. I've never had any issues with cleaner going on the pickups. They're tough old things, they'll be fine. So I'm just getting in all the places that you come into contact with, and most importantly, the bits you can't get into contact with when the strings are on. This stuff smells amazing as well. Okay, so earlier I mentioned about graphite. Now you can get special stuff for this. You can get a thing called nut lube, and nut sauce, but I just use the end of a sharp pencil. And all I'm going to do is just essentially colour in the grooves in the nut where the strings sit. Now this lubricates the strings and in theory reduces friction, helps them to bend, and most importantly keeps them in tune. I've just missed that one massively. So even on like a bone nut, I don't know what this, I think this is synthetic, but you just want to make sure you get in all the crevices of this nut, and then hopefully the strings will be a bit more well behaved. Now I do this on all of my guitars on every string change. I don't think James has ever done it. It might be an old wives' tale, but I believe in it. So therefore, I'm going to carry on doing it. So I say I've got some Diodario lemon oil cleaner and conditioner. And what I like to do, I just like to start at the top of the neck, squeeze a little bit on, and just, oh, that's a lot. It's because this bottle's nearly empty now. Just run it down the fretboard, and then take some kitchen towel, and just work on working that into the fretboard, and then I will wipe off any excess, but I will leave it to dry because I think this will be the first time this guitar's ever been lemon oiled. Now on a maple neck you can't really tell if it's working, but even just after 2 frets, you know, if you can see that is going a slightly different darker colour. So I'm just going to work this in across all the frets, and then we're good to put the strings on. I'm not saying this guitar has been difficult, but God, it didn't want to be looked after, this thing. It's fought me nearly every step of the journey, whether it was these falling out or pots wiggling. But I've got the strings on. I'd say that's what, E flat. But yeah, I need to get these properly bedded in. One thing I didn't expect to have to do was I've sort of cut into the nut a little bit, because the especially the bottom 3 strings, the G, B and the E, just didn't want to sit in the nut. These strings felt as though they were too thick, so I've made the grooves a little bit thicker. Doesn't seem to have messed with the action, which is nice. So yeah, hopefully in this video, today's podcast, you will see and hear how this thing sounds and plays. I think the fret inlays make a massive difference. It really has changed the look of the guitar. The neck feels so much better now I've lemon oiled it. So yeah, this video will look and hear how it sounds.
So would you say these modifications have improved the guitars?
Tenfold. For me, if I'm going to stick with me, being quite selfishly, the fact that everything's clean is a big thing for me. I did try and relocate the pickup switch. Well, we'll talk about what we could do better actually in a second. But yeah, the fact that I tightened up the tuners, they now actually work properly. I'm glad I didn't have to upgrade those. The string ferrules in the back, they're no longer falling out, which is something you really don't want to have to lose. Those falling out
try
are
and
a real
replace
pain.
those, it'll be really difficult.
Yeah. The only thing I resisted, so I'll leave this to the lovely person who wins it. I didn't take the plastic off the covers at the back, so whoever wins this, it will still feel like a new guitar. Are you happy with your mods, really?
Yeah, do you know, I've really struggled to put this guitar down over the past couple of days. I'm really I'm prepping for a gig on Friday. I'm playing a function with some pretty challenging material, which means I'm practicing quite a lot for that. And it just sounds like a good Strat, you know? So it does the clean thing. It'll crunch up, and it'll even do the sort of it's a little bit nasal.
It's still, but I think that's a characteristic of that guitar. I think it's retained the original qualities, just
if
OEM
I was to
plus.
change one other thing
Yeah.
on this guitar, I think I'd save up my pocket money from my paper round.
Yep.
And I would I'd potentially change the pickups for something, maybe something, because I was hoping to get a bridge pickup for this guitar, and I just couldn't afford it, and it would have been the only thing that I'd done. Whereas I think if I was to maybe get some, you know, and I'm talking, and you know, it sort of opens the conversation: is it worth it? But maybe some like Texas specials or something.
Ooh.
Let's see if I can find some on the used market.
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace could have been your friends.
Yeah.
This thing, it's still a Super Strat. It's quite, that's a clean tone. It Still quite aggressive. I didn't need to worry about these pickups. They're absolutely fantastic. If I get some drive on. This, likewise, had a criminally dry fretboard. It's actually a laminated fretboard, so I still put some lemon oil on it. I put way too much on, as we saw in the video. It all kind of spilled out, which was a bit annoying, but hey-ho. The biggest improvement I think I've made to this are the fret inlay markers, because it only came with 2 little black dots on the 12th fret from factory. I knew we were going to give these away. We've sort of been hiding them from you. And the biggest thing in the Facebook group, people said, you need to be able to see what fret you're on. I don't mind, but the fact it didn't have any, and I think it just completes the look. I went for this kind of blue 80s stressed look.
Upon looking at it, I'd not noticed that you'd put them in, because also the video that you've seen that George has done, I purposely, you sent it to me, but I was like, I just want to make sure I've got the file so that I can edit it later on this afternoon. But I want it to be a complete
likewise for yours,
what you've done.
So yeah, I think they look all right. I've still got a couple which are going to come with the guitar in case they fall off. I mean, I put some. Do you remember those horrible inlays I put on my Strat? I do. I put some Gibson style block inlays that were chrome gold on my Strat, and James said, "Don't do that. Don't do." Oh, you've done it. And I had to be careful you didn't peel them off.
The only time I've ever been disappointed in you, George.
Yeah, I was 15. It was a different time. 14 actually, but yeah, I'm really happy with this sort of distressed 80s look. I've done my best to line them up. My pliers gave up the ghost when I was restringing this, hence why the B string is still a bit loose.
Get mine off.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Before you go.
What else could I do with money with no object? I'd have loved a locking nut for this thing. I think a tremolo system is a step too far without getting really invasive.
But also
with this, because it's a fixed bridge.
The guitar at that price point, it's not. There's 2 kinds of super strats. There's those with the Floyd Rose or similar tremolo, isn't there? And then there's those that are hardtails for down tuning.
See, what could have been good for yours would have been a Vega trem system with a hot pickup. I think that would have totally transformed yours. But this has still got a chunky neck, but the frets, it's stainless steel frets. And you saw in the jam, I can get up to the 24th fret and still get clarity. So this thing is pretty all right, you know. I'm still annoyed. I'm going to have to find another Allen key for this wobbly pot. But other than that, I've been really impressed with it. And it just looks pretty. When I talked with it a few weeks ago, everyone said, that looks nice. And it does. I think it does the job really well. And I think whoever wins it,
I was quite underwhelmed when you got it first, because that's not my world of those guitars.
No, it's not really the thing I'd go for.
It's a bit too heavy metal for me. But some of the tones that you're getting in the room today, it sounds
awesome. I mean, you might say it's heavy metal, you can still get with the tone. It's okay, but then as you said, you can get. So yeah, I'm super happy with it, and hopefully whoever else wins this will be super happy with it as well. And I think that kind of rounds it off, does it not?
I think so. So just a reminder, head to the first link in the description if you'd like your chance to win these guitars. Attend our live show on the 6th of June 2026 here in Denby Dale. It'd be really good to see some more of you. The podcast has got significantly bigger since the last time, and tickets are strictly limited, but it'd be really good to meet some of you, and then we'll open up the bar like we did last time.
Yeah, we'll have a chat
and have a good couple of hours, and you can sort of pick his brains about things that you want.
Did there.
So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.